Coach, leading up to today, there was a fair amount of conversation about this class bonding through the social media outlets. And I was wondering if you could just kind of reflect on how that came about and how perhaps that aspect of recruiting has changed over the last few years.
Well, it's definitely changed. I think both the social media aspect, whether it's Twitter reporting every move by every coach across the country of, Scott Frost parked in the left parking lot at this high school and from 10:28 to, 10:57, that's weird. You can't just go in and, we were joking about that. We had a couple guys that went and just saw the high school coach because they went to college with him, and that came out as they were offering a kid on the team, and it's just couldn't be more, way out there. But that it's something you deal with. And the way things are communicated, it's always interesting. It's interesting this time of year of the truth optional sort of nature of some of the things that happen in the closing 24 hours before signing date. But then it also, I think, can be used as a very positive thing with guys coming from all parts of the country, and a lot of these guys now, they know each other from something, whether it's the opening or these different camps that go on. A lot of these guys know each other, and they start that bond, and so that's probably a good thing, especially in a situation like ours where we have guys from everywhere, nine states this year in terms of commitments from 9 states. We've now seen 42 states over the last 2.5 years, 3,000 high schools our guys have hit, and so we'll come find you. I can't mention the 8 states because that'll make them feel bad, but we'll come.
In the back, Mike?
Mark, can you explain the importance and why it's so beneficial to have, such strong ties to Hawaii, that pipeline through Hawaii?
Well, obviously, going back a long time, Oregon has had a great tradition of Polynesian players, whether it's been Hawaii or Samoa, and that I think is something that we've cultivated. And then obviously with the Marcus Mariota phenomenon, that has led to something totally different. And, I think Oregon and Hawaii are our 2 home states right now. And we have a great relationship with a bunch of those coaches. We love tough, smart, versatile guys. And a lot of that has happened with guys that we have currently on our team and guys that are coming. And I think our coaches love to go recruit over there too.
Right up here. Yeah, are the heights and weights from your measurements, or? And I was speaking I was speaking in class. I apologize because you mentioned Rex Manu as being not the biggest guy, 6'3", 298. So I was just kind of wondering how big maybe he will grow to.
Maybe he is 298. I haven't seen him in a couple months maybe. And I would be lying if I told you I knew where these came from. Dave, do you know where these came from?
The football staff.
The football staff. Those guys don't know what they're talking about.
They should come to you.
Yeah, exactly. He might weigh 298. He doesn't seem like he's that heavy right now, but I'm just probably singling him out for no reason. But yeah, I would have to go through them individually and check my records.
In the middle, Tyson.
You said you guys have won and lost some guys just based on being honest with your approach there. Is that kind of being honest about where they project within the program, or can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think I think we're honest. I think that's a very simple way to put it. And I think there's a lot of guys that love the sales aspect and the recruiting aspect. And I heard somebody, one of the gurus, talking about being de-recruited this morning. I don't think we ever go through that phase. We're the same on practice 14 as we are in the home and all this stuff, because that it's trust. It's all about trust. And if we see you at this position, we're going to be honest with you. It doesn't mean, it's the end all be all, but we talk about how hard it is to play here. And that I think in the end, gets the right guys. And then conversely, we're going to support you unconventionally with whether it's the people, the facilities, all the support that we give these guys. It's different, but they earn it every single day. And our guys work, right up there with anybody in the country. And we truly believe that.
So when you have a guy like Taj Griffin who's coming into a position where you guys are pretty loaded with young talent as it is, what's the pitch to him? What's being honest to him?
Well, at that position, we want tough guys that are versatile and smart, and unselfish. And there's times, like we've talked about many times, there's times when the tailback's going to have a huge day. There's times when this position's going to have a great day. There's times when the tight end, whatever it is, and that's due in part to what they're doing and just the nature of the game and how it plays out, and that's where the more honest you are in the recruiting process up front. We don't go into a tailback's home, for instance, and say, hey man, you're going to carry the ball 35 times a game. You're our bell cow. Boom, you're going. Let's go. That never happens. They're a part of something great. They're a part of what we've done, and ending up with over the last 6 years, 10 years, 25 years, that's been pretty good.
Early enrollment's obviously a theme of this class. How much was that intentional, and what do you see as the benefits of that for this group?
I think it depends, and I know that's a horrible answer, but I think it's tough. I think I love our players more. I've said that, again, very publicly all the time. I love our team. I love our players. I love our culture. It's hard to be the only guy in that deal. And like last year, Jaylen Brown was the only guy in that role. When there's 5 guys, 6 guys, I think it's a lot healthier. I think I probably lean toward being a high school kid. Be a 3-sport athlete, do your deal. Be the prom king. Whatever it is, go through that whole thing. That only happens once, and then you get the opportunity to compete for whatever 3 years, and you're gone. In some cases, and we have guys on our team that have the right to think that way, and we certainly have a behind the scenes plan for that, but. Everybody just wants to have it faster than maybe it should happen sometimes. But I think the guys that we have on campus, without exception, are mature enough, smart enough, all those things to handle it. And we've grown to I think do it better. We've learned from this process as well, and having more guys is obviously a little bit easier.
Yes.
Joe Becker, toward the back.
Mark, how would you compare this class to recent years? And 2, has it gotten easier over the years to recruit because of the success of the team?
The first part, that's like saying which of your kids is your favorite. I think that's a hard thing to evaluate. I think I have no idea where it ranks, and we don't really care. We think just like everybody across the country. We love these guys. We think they're great fits. We have no idea, how great they'll be long term. But we know the power of our assistant coaches in terms of developing guys, Jim Radcliffe in terms of developing guys, our academic people in terms of supporting these guys. Who knows what could what the future holds, and then. Geography, demographics is always going to be our challenge. We're not moving Eugene, Oregon. That's hard. And distance is still the number one reason why people pick a place. But the second thing is winning, and we can make a pretty good argument about that. And then the third thing is having a plan. Having a plan for these guys, and we think we have a really good plan for whatever. Whether it's an early enrollee or a JC transfer, whatever that guy is.
Matt Preem.
You guys talked a lot about beefing up the lines going into this season, and now you've signed 11 guys this time around. Is that just coincidence, or is that kind of an area you addressed in this class?
Definitely, and I think the biggest thing again is just their versatility. We've got, and I know I've said that too many times. We've got a bunch of big guys, and we've got a bunch of guys that everybody wants, and that's good. It's whether you've got the outside linebacker, tight end, the receiver, DB, tailback, DB, all that stuff, or O-line, D-line, outside linebacker, all those things. There's just more to choose from, and guys compete in we'll get them out there in kind of some multi-purpose drills in the spring, and certainly obviously the majority of these guys in fall camp, and see what they can do. And they pick that position initially. It's completely up to them. And after the first cycle, we'll go through it, sit down and go, hey, here's where we're at.
Stephen Alexander.
Mark, as far as just critiquing your performance as a head coach and the assistant coach's performance recruiting wise, how would you critique it, and how do you feel like the staff did in general?
Let you know in 2 to 5 years. I love our staff. You know, again, there's a lot of guys that could be in other places, and they have been phenomenal. You know, and piggybacking on the last question is you know, if we can get our guys here, we get guys here to visit, and that's, you know, why we talked about the early signing date and all those things, and how that will shake out, I don't know. But if we get guys here, we got a shot. You know, a lot of people want to visit. They might not be the right people, and that's kind of one of the hardest things to filter out on the front end. But you know, as far as we sit here today on signing day, very, very proud of how these guys have done and the class that is signed.
Austin Meek over this direction.
Mark, what did you know about Fotu before you saw his viral video? And apparently he doesn't have a cell phone. How do you go about recruiting a guy if you can't call him or text
Love
him?
that. The only we love any guy that doesn't have Twitter or a social media account or a cell phone. Go old school. But yeah, he it was weird. He knew a couple people in the department and became kind of this myth, you know, before we saw the tape. And then once we saw the tape, we were like, okay, something has to be wrong with this guy. You know, there's got to be an academic issue or something. And then I think the more that got out there and the more everybody found out everything else about him, that's why he took off. He was one of the most highly recruited guys in the country over the last couple of weeks.
Justin?
Mark, was the topic of the full cost of attendance a conversation that you had with this class of recruits, and how do you think that's going to start to factor into the conversation with recruits in the years to come?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a topic of conversation with some guys, and I think we're in a place where we're very fortunate that we can do everything possible. You know, from a legality standpoint, we can budgetarily handle every possible thing for all of our student athletes, and that's a huge deal. Obviously, you know, something that comes up a lot, again, because we have guys from a bunch of places, is, hey, how do I get there? You know, and we talk a lot about how our team, our current roster, manages that. But we are certainly in full support of everything that we've done initially, both as what's the right phrase now? Autonomous 5 or Fantastic 5 or whatever it is, of supporting these guys in any way we can.
Jake?
Coach, way too early projection. How many of these guys do you see contributing as freshmen?
14.
Really?
Why not?
Okay, Matt?
When you first were hired, it was pretty rare for you guys to sign one guy from the South or from Texas, and now you've got 5. What has led to you as a staff to go in there and be able to pull guys at that high of a number?
I think part of it obviously is just kind of the Oregon brand, and as that's grown, the Pac-12 recruiting footprint is the world now. I mean, you know, there's guys from Europe, there's guys from Australia, New Zealand, whatever, all across the country, and we'll go anywhere. And then part of that is relationships. You know, we've had a few guys, Matt Lubick, John Neal, a couple of other coaches have long-standing relationships in the South. And if it's the right guy, we'll certainly try to recruit him.
Jerry Allen in the back.
Back here, Coach. Are the recruits you're recruiting now more physically and mentally prepared to play at this level right away than they were, say, 10 or 20 years ago?
That's a great question. You know, I think there's a couple guys you know, Tyrell Crosby jumps to mind, Cameron Hunt jumps to mind. Ideally, those guys coulda, woulda, shoulda redshirted, you know, type things in terms of development. By the same token, whether it's from depth or, man, hey, we see this guy in a couple years growing into this, and they're maybe too good at that point not to play. Sometimes that's by necessity. Sometimes it's not. I think physically, you know, there's a lot of arguments that we've heard and have been made about the athleticism and the size of this class and all that stuff. But now you get into the mental part of it, and the psychological part of it is probably even more important. You know, these guys are all physically, you know, probably to a man, physically capable of showing up the first week and playing. Now do they know what they're doing? And then psychologically, are they over that hump of just whether it's confidence or whatever to just cut it loose to a point that you're playing that guy? Until all three of those components are, you know, aligned, you can't play that guy.
Brian Thorburn.
Two quick ones. Is Marcus's brother going to walk on at Oregon? And was it just a down year for D1 prospects in state this year?
I need to find out if I can comment on that. I think that I cannot on the first part. I need to find out on that. And then the second part, again, luck of the draw. The state of Oregon, we didn't sign anybody from the state of Oregon this year other than Matt Pearson. Unfortunately that's the case. Sometimes that's by choice, sometimes that's not.
Steve Summers in the back.
Coach, you talked about the kind of players that you want to get. You talked about that there's a lot of expectations on them. We know that Coach Radcliffe puts them through a very rigorous training regime. Did you ever run into players, particularly some really high, with big name value players that sort of, saw what you had to offer and said, gee, I don't want to get involved in all that?
I don't know, I guess, exactly what you're saying. I mean, again, we're very honest with guys. It's hard to do what our guys do. It's really hard. And we're going to work them unconventionally. And as I said earlier, we're going to support them unconventionally. And it's not for everybody. And I think when you're honest with those guys and you're upfront with those guys about that, you're more likely to filter out maybe some guys that don't fit our profile. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we'd rather find out, beforehand that it's not the right fit than a year or two into it. But yeah, we have a bunch of big name guys in the world of college football recruiting, and we're excited about them.
Stephen Alexander.
Mark, how important is it for recruits in terms of a school's ability to get them to the next level and into the NFL? And what do you tell recruits about what Oregon can do in terms of getting them to the next level?
Well, I mean, that's certainly, again, the type of guys that we're recruiting, that's certainly on their mind, whether it's first and it's really second, or it's second and it's really first, or whatever I said opposite there, that, it's absolutely on their mind and should be. Hopefully every guy that we're recruiting has that, long-term ability and commitment to seeing that through. And, over the past several years, we've put more guys in the NFL than anybody in our conference. And so that's a legitimate results-based conversation that we can have and look guys in the eye and know that what we've done, our coaches on this campus have done, and certainly as you said, or somebody else had recently said of Coach Rad, Coach Cam, you can go back forever and those numbers get very favorable.
I have to wind this down after a couple more. Matt?
First to clarify, did you say Elliott was coming in as a center, or he could maybe play center?
We have every one of our offensive linemen, when we bring them in, they try out essentially to see if they have that just a natural ability to snap, to snap and step. And he will definitely be one of those guys. He's an athletic guy, can bend. But we will. Anybody that's an offensive lineman, we try that on day one.
And obviously, you like the guys that you signed, but was there a position or two that you felt like you maybe wanted to get one more guy for depth purposes?
For depth purposes of we're going to probably, and there's no scoop to be had here because we don't know who it is yet, but we're going to probably transition at least one guy from offense to defense in the secondary, possibly two guys. But then again, when I was out there this morning seeing Ugo Amadi run around and some of our redshirt freshman guys in the secondary run around, the lights coming on, for a couple of those guys. And sometimes it takes that carrot of knowing that, playing time is really on the line to elicit their best. That's not, necessarily their fastest path to stardom, but was very pleased with their work. But yeah, we're going to have there'll be some great debates over the next couple of weeks to see who's on the trading block.
Andrew Greif, to your right, Mark.
Last time we were all sitting here, you said that there might be a couple guys who would kind of deciding whether they want to stay with the program or not. Have those guys kind of come to you and said what their decision is? And then also staff-wise, you said you would hope everyone would be back. Is that staff now firm? Are they guaranteed to all be back?
Yeah, I mean, they're guaranteed as far as you can guarantee them. And, again, we're very honest with that. I saw, a couple things develop today that were interesting on that front. Yeah, I think I read something where you said I was hesitating about that. I mean, as firm as we could firmly be. Firm, really firm, extra firm. And then what was it? And then that same day, that was actually right after I had the conversation with Sam Camp. And so that has transpired, and we wish him absolutely nothing but the best.
Over in the middle.
Signing day today obviously didn't add anybody or any verbal commitments. It didn't seem like. For you as a coach, is it nice to know what you have coming into a day like today instead of sweating out whether the nucleus of your class is going to come together? Or do you prefer to have some of those late additions and maybe have some momentum nationally that maybe the fans can get excited about, I guess?
The fans can get very excited. And I think the biggest part, a bunch of those guys are already on campus that I think are the buzz, type of situations nationally. But, we couldn't be happier with this group of guys, and to not have surprises is the key. And to go into it with the group that we had and the structure by position that we had, to have no surprises is great.
Couple more. AJ?
Obviously, Coach, you can still add guys to the class of 2015 after today. Do you hope that more guys might be added to the class after today besides the ones that we already know about?
Do I hope to? Sure, I hope to. I think you always, anytime the kind of how our positional breakdown is for next year and how many seniors we have, it's not vital, but by the same token, if there's a situation where we can make our team better, we're going to make our team better.
Two more, begin with Ryan.
Mark, what was kind of the process when you got the job 2 years ago and put that class together, and what are you looking forward to about the 2013 class now as they're developing into some of the leaders on the team?
Yeah, I mean, the first class, that whole thing, absolute scramble mode of staff, and obviously was mainly intact, almost completely intact, and that was huge. Adding to it, the two guys 2.5 as it shook out were huge, and then seeing those guys grow up and growing into leadership roles is something that we need. We've had whether it's Marcus, Aronis, Keenan Lowe, the defensive guys at EFO that left. Eric Dargan grew up over the last year tremendously into a leader. We've got a bunch of great guys similar to those guys that are really quiet but great leaders. Charles Nelson, Royce Freeman, those guys now need to step up and be heard, and they did a decent job this morning. But being more vocal is something that is, it's not necessarily natural to those guys. But DeForest Buckner needs to be a leader for us. The linebacker core, they've done a good job of leading. But that's part of what, and we talked about this I think a little bit last time, is seeing that happen and not forcing it, because it can't be fake and say, hey, Ryan's the leader, go out there. But no disrespect, but nobody respects Ryan. That we can't force that to happen. Bad example, I realize, but letting that happen and creating situations where that can happen is something that we've already put in motion.
Last question to Jerry Thompson.
Yes, Coach. You kind of alluded to Gary Baker, Gus Cumberlander is possibly a little under the radar. Could you explain the process? Like 2 years ago, or a year ago, you start identifying players you really are wanting. And then some of them you're probably disappointed, but some of them you're really elated, like that guy really wants to come here. We're really excited. And I know you like all the guys, but are there some that you kind of think other teams didn't evaluate very high as much as you did, and that you're really really elated that, hey, we got him, and others didn't look at him as high as we did?
I don't know. That every situation is so different. The two guys that you talked about, Gary Baker, unless a guy comes to camp, we have some relationship, we've really seen that guy multiple times, we're not going to offer freshmen and sophomores early, and getting as soon as we then he didn't play his junior year, so seeing his film as a senior reaffirmed everything we thought about him going into his junior year. We really liked him, but then we found out he wasn't going to be able to play, and that prolonged that process a little bit. And Gus was a guy that I think the first time I saw him. He's probably 6'6", 230 something. But you're going, okay, you know, this guy's something. And you get to know him, great kid, you know, whole background, all that stuff. You know, then you see the film and it matches up and you kind of, I don't want to say take a chance, but you're projecting a little bit more off of, again, versatility, toughness, intelligence, all the things that you really know. And, you know, we were one of the first in on him. I don't know if we were the first. I don't remember. AJ probably knows. But,
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.